Good afternoon, councillors, and welcome to today's meeting of the Perth Common Good Fund Committee. The convener, Councillor Pannett, has tendered his apologies, and in his absence, can I ask for nominations to chair the meeting this afternoon?
Christina, I would like to nominate Councillor Rebecca to chair the meeting this afternoon.
Christina, I'm happy to second that.
Sorry, Councillor Hen, I think you were in first to second that. Are there any other nominations?
No.
In the absence of any other nominations, Councillor Rebecca, are you happy to take the chair of the meeting?
Yes, I think so. Thanks very much, colleagues. I appreciate that.
Over to you.
And thank you. And welcome again to today's Perth Common Good Fund Committee. Can I ask if we have any formal apologies, please?
Yes, we also have apologies from Councillor Audrey Coates and Councillor Harry Coates.
Thank you very much. I understand we probably do a roll call at this point.
Yes, good afternoon, members. When I call out your name, if you could please confirm that you're present. Councillor Redbeck, we've heard from yourself. Councillor Hearn.
Present.
Councillor Liz Barrett.
Present.
Councillor Peter Barrett.
Present.
Councillor Drysdale.
Present.
Councillor Duff.
Present.
Councillor Lyle.
Present.
Councillor Massey.
Present, and apologies for my lateness.
Councillor McCall.
Present.
And Councillor Wilson.
Present.
All members are present.
Thanks very much, Kirsten. Do we have any formal declarations of interest, please?
No.
Councillor Hearn.
Yep, I'm going to declare a non-financial interest in paper 5, item 3 on the capital grant. I'm not a member of the Community Council, which has put in the application, but I am a member of the voluntary group that is running the whole. So if I'm advised that it should be a financial, I'm quite willing to change it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hearn. We need to comment on that, Kirsten or Christina?
No, that should be fine.
Perfect. Thank you again then, Councillor Hearn. We will move on to item 3. I will ask in a minute if there's any matters arising, if you can stick a C in the box if there are, but in the meantime, are we happy to approve the minute of the last meeting of 4th of October, please?
Agreed.
Thank you. And are there any matters arising? It would appear not. Thank you. So we'll move on to applications for financial assistance. The first one being Tulloch Primary School Parent Council, who have asked for a grant of £439.60 for the pantomime, and that's in line with established criteria. Have we any comment, please?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you. Perfect. So we've agreed. Thank you, colleagues. We'll agree that one. And the second one is from the Friends of St John's Kirk. This is there's an application for £300, which has been left open a little bit in terms of the criteria. I have no huge opinion on this, so I'm just wondering if colleagues do in terms of the £300 consideration for Friends of St John's Kirk, or does that sound about right? Councillor McCall, you have a question?
I do, convener, thank you very much. I'm curious to know if officers are aware of what revenue the Friends of St John's Kirk actually get from the sale of these CDs.
Thank you, Councillor McCall. Have we got anybody, an officer here to comment on that, please?
Councillor Rebecca, I might ask my colleague Lisa to check the application to see whether it mentions a specific figure, but from memory I don't think it does, other than saying it's relatively small. Could you have a quick look at that, Lisa, and get back to us, please?
I actually have a figure here for how much they're selling the CDs for, and that's £8 each.
Thank you.
So that's £800 then they get back for the CDs that goes somewhere else?
Yeah, in the application.
Is that correct?
That seems to be correct. They say that they will produce 100 CDs, and within the application they said that any profits would be used for other activities within the church.
Okay, so there's 613 is the total cost, of which we're being asked to contribute 300. But if they sell all of them, which they said they're doing, then they're receiving £187 profit then.
That would appear to be the case, I think.
So I seem to recall in other applications, not from the Carillion, but from other organisations, that we have sought to understand that they needed the funds because they wouldn't be making a profit and that they wouldn't be making undue amounts from that. So I'm just wondering if there's any inconsistency in this approach and not asking them to offset the profits that they're making against their application to us.
Yep, thank you, Councillor McCall. I think that's a fair comment. In the meantime, because points noted, in the meantime, I think we have...
Well, actually, it's not a point to be noted. I'm actually asking a question, you know, from officers, hopefully, about consistency in our approach towards applications for funding to events or to other things. And I accept this is quite a small amount, but nevertheless, you know, they've had funding in the past, and the fact that there's a profit being made on it would lead me to wonder: should the common good be, the amount be there to bridge the gap between what they've raised themselves and what they need to produce them, or whether we should be contributing to the profit?
I think that probably is a matter for this committee. Have you any further comment in the meantime, Lee?
Not specifically, Councillor Beck, no, other than there have been instances in the past, but it's very much up to the committee to decide for themselves whether or not they wish to fund and to what level. We do have criteria, as Councillor McCall referred to, for specific instances, but in this example, we've highlighted criteria 9.8 because it doesn't fit in with any of the more kind of bespoke criteria, and it's really up to committee themselves to determine what level of funding, if any, they wish to offer.
Thank you, Lee. I know we'd probably have two motions here, but I'm going to come to Councillor Barrett for a question first, if that's okay. Councillor Barrett.
Thanks very much, John. I note that there is a sum of £85 for a copyright licence, and I assumed that they applied for the cost of a copyright licence last time round as well. So my question is, does that lapse after a certain period of time, or is it only applicable to one recording? And is this going to be a completely different CD from what was recorded last time? Do we know?
In terms of the first question, Councillor Barrett, I couldn't say for sure. We would need to go and check what the situation is with copyright. We're by no means experts on that particular point. I would imagine that the music this year would be different to that of last year, but again, that's not something that we've specifically asked.
Thanks, Lee. I've not forgotten about you, Councillor Wilson. It might be appropriate at this point to hear, or your motion, Councillor Hearn, it might be appropriate to hear from Councillor Duff at this point.
Thanks, Councillor Rebeck. I think obviously the key part is that the monies from the common good are used for the benefit of the residents of Perth, and I think the point here would be that any small profit, though it may be, continues to be used for the benefit of the residents of Perth, which I think it would be on this occasion.
Thank you, Councillor Duff. Councillor Drysdale.
Yeah, yes, I just wanted to clarify my understanding of the point regarding copyright. Being a treasurer of another church, that is an annual fee, is my understanding.
Thank you, Councillor Drysdale. It's fairly clear we've got a motion from Councillor Hearn. Can I ask you at this point, Councillor Wilson, if you have a motion as well, which I presume, since it came after the motion, this may be an amendment. Can I ask what your...
No, I'm quite happy to listen to Councillor Hearn's proposal and then react to that, convener. Thank you, Councillor Hearn.
Yes, I'm happy to put forward a motion that we go with the application for the £300. I have listened to about the concerns about the profit, but I think this is worthwhile. It is the Carillion is unique in Perth, and I think we should support it. So I'm happy to propose the motion of £300 as the application states.
Councillor Hearn, do you have a seconder?
I'm happy to second, acting convener, to second that proposal. and I wonder if Councillor Ahern would add an addition to that. I understand that the convener has the regular convener, if I may refer to John as the temporary convener, has a request from the session clerk at St John's Kirk to have a discussion about how we operate and fund the carillon in the future. It comes up kind of regularly, I think, and there are sporadic, I would regard them as sporadic requests for assistance for various things to help pay the salary of the carillionaire, to help with repairs to the carillon, and here's one for recordings. I think we take these as they come along, and I think the Kirk would value the discussion with the convener of the Common Good Fund and maybe one or two other members of the Common Good Fund committee about the whole issue of how this is taken along in the future. There's no agenda to that. It's simply that we have a sensible discussion about it, and I wonder if Councillor Ahern would be willing to add that we request the convener to meet with the church to discuss the future funding of the carillon with a view to a report coming back to the committee in due course.
Councillor Ahern.
Yes, I totally agree with Councillor Wilson and happy to include that in the motion.
Thanks very much. Councillor McCall, I think you have a further comment.
Yeah, I think Councillor Wilson more or less touched upon it. My further comment was to say I'm not opposed to the grant application, more to try and ensure that there's some consistency about our approach to these types of applications, and that perhaps there could be some follow-up with the Kirk in relation to how these are submitted. That was all.
Thank you, Councillor McCall. Is there any opposing view, or are we agreed on Councillor Ahern's motion?
Agreed.
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 Thank you very much, colleagues. We now have a capital grant from North Mutant Community Council. I don't propose to read it all out, but it's for £6,998, and that is consistent with the criteria in 10.4. Do we have any comments, please? Or can we agree it?
I'm happy to agree it.
I'm content to. I'll move that we agree the grant, just to formalise matters.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. Councillor Barrett, you have a comment?
Well, I was just going to say I was happy to agree the allocation, and happy to second Councillor Wilson if that's required. I've met the group on a couple of occasions. They've got admirable commitment to the project and have been working really hard, and I think they're very worthy of our support.
Thank you, Councillor Barrett. I think we're agreed on that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Agreed.
Thanks again, colleagues. We are now on to item 6, which is a financial statement. I think probably you talked us at this point, Donald, do you?
Apologies, convener. Yeah, I was on mute there.
No problem.
Yeah, I can do, but I do think there's something in the previous paper which needs approval. Is it the
item 4.1?
Yeah, 4.1, the criteria for the Perth Common Good Fund.
Yeah. Thank you. And are we agreed on that point in 4.1? I think this refers to the sourcing of materials locally and services locally where appropriate. Has the committee agreed on that?
Agreed.
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 Thanks very much. Donald?
Okay, thank you, convener. Yeah. So yeah, the report, the financial statement report is for noting and includes details of the income and expenditure to the 26th of October 2021 and the projected outturn for the fund for the current financial year. So we're looking now at a projected surplus for the fund for the financial year 21-22 of say £71,700, and the estimated fund balance at the 31st of March 2022 is circa £1,745,000. So the projected surplus we previously reported to committee was £65,700, and the £6,000 increase is mainly due to the update to the estimate for financial assistance and the small grants. So that's due to grants awards which are committed and accounted for in the previous financial year. They're no longer required in this financial year. There are also small increases to the estimates for interest and fishing permit income to be received for the year as well. So year-end projections will continue to be refined as we progress through the remainder of the financial year, and in particular, the outturn for financial assistance expenditure will be firmed up for the committee meeting in February 2022. So happy to take any questions.
Thanks very much, Donald. I appreciate that, as always, eloquent summary of our financial situation. Are there any questions or comments?
No.
So can we note the report, please?
Agreed.
Noted.
Perfect, thank you very much. I think, unless somebody tells me otherwise, that's the business of the day done. So thank you very much.